Howdy, everybody. So tonight we're going to go over this guy, and we are going to discuss what has taken place on the island, what these symbols potentially mean, what the cockatoo is up there, what these things are down at the bottom. We are going to discuss also the history of the island. Give me a second. Am I going to the wrong spot? I think I am. Yeah. The history on the island here. Some people don't know that he owned two islands. He owned Great and Little. Some people don't know that he was arrested twice, that the first time he was arrested and then he was let out for about a decade. And in that decade, while he was out, this island blew up. Hold on a second. Sorry, Azriel's trying to talk. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, we're going to cover the ranch in Mexico later, not tonight. Thank you everybody who's sharing. But so let's go over a little bit of history with this guy. Okay, so here he is. He gets looked into during the late 90s with Maxwell and everything. He then is looked into for a single case. And that one is just kind of coughed off. And then he gets looked into again. And in the state of Florida, he had where there was 60 counts that he was facing in Florida. For whatever reason, go down any rabbit hole that you want to or not, but for whatever reason in Florida, his court was moved from there and moved to a grand jury trial. And when that took place, he was given a trial, and it was known as the sweetheart deal, something like that. And the reason why it was known as the sweetheart deal is because it was such a sweetheart deal. He had where he could go in and out as he pleased. He only had to serve 12 hours a day. He only had to serve 6 days out of the week. He was allowed to have anybody come in and out, and they did not even have to put down their name. It was a lot of like bull crap, and he was supposed to serve for 18 months. Well, he only served for 13 months out of that. And when he got done with those 13th months, so that would have been in like 2006, 7, something like that. Well, when he comes out, he goes to building this island up. So let me show you how this island used to look, okay? So right now, as today, this image was last taken September 26, 2023. You should be able to see that. Give me just a second. There you go. So you should see that right down here at the bottom. You can see where the number is, okay? And so you got the temple on there. You got, still have the sundial and a whole bunch of stuff that's on here. Well, let's go back. Let's go back to pretty much the dawn of time. And the furthest that you can go back is 2002. Okay, now I want you to pay attention right here in this spot. You see how there's an E right here? A lot of people think that means his last name. I question if that means entrance that's here, but that's a big E. Now, nothing else was really built on this island. You don't have the temple or anything like that. You don't have a house over here. You do have some of this stuff here, but no pool over here. You got a little bit of a dock. You do have what we think is a trampoline that's here. Now, this is in 2002. On the bigger island, you don't see anything on the roads are being built over here and things of that nature. And yes, by his bigger island, there ends up being this place, a pizza place by the big island. And you can speculate on that however you wish. Now, let's now go forward. And as you go forward, still you don't really see much being changed. You still got the E that's over here. You still have no temple, okay? So not really much. The only thing that you do have is this spot right here. Now this spot later towards the end of it ends up turning into a helicopter pad. But during the time, it's a question mark because look at this platform that they built here, this triangle with the top cut off, so to say. And as you go through time on this, and I'll do it just real quick, you see the shadow that ends up being here. There's other types of pictures where people have stood here, and it's like you can drive into this thing. So that ends up taking place there. You know, is this kind of like a bunker? If you go through, you know, in time, give me just a second, you can kind of see where there's an H that's forming. Give it a second. So yeah, here you go. So here's a helicopter on here. And this is in January 6, 2018. That's here, okay? So that's what this spot is. All right, so let's go back to 2002, okay? So you don't really have much that's being built here. Let's go through to the next phase, okay? Here you have in 2004, cloud layover, but you have now where that spot still has the E here, kind of. It's just Google Images. That's how, you know, sometimes it looks good. Sometimes it's too bright. Sometimes you got clouds in front of it. You don't have a temple over here, okay? So still not a lot of stuff there. Let's go forward. 2006. Now, during 2006, that's when he was dealing with his first jail time. For that, you know, starting on his 13 months. What do you have that's here? Well, you remember that E that's in the spot? Well, look at this spot right here. You see that something is forming here in this spot, okay? You see where there's a pole that is here. Almost, you know, resembles a flag. I don't know what this is. Because all you can see is a dark point to it. Now there ends up being a flag later on that's red, white, and I don't know what the third color is, and that's on there. You do have later on down at this point where there's an American flag, and you can actually see it right now. An American flag's here, but I don't know what that flag is back there. Now, still, no temple, no grounds being dug in here so far. Now, you do have where somewhat of a pool was put in. This thing ends up being grown more and more. You do have the dock, you know, was built more, still have that trampoline thing. You have where there is footprints, you know, of something to be built here. Now, again, this is October 31st, 2006. No temple, none of this ritualistic type stuff looking yet. Okay? So he goes and he serves his 13 months. Now check this out. Here you are. This is what's interesting. This is August. This is a very important thing. This is August of 2009. You ready for this? August of 2009. Still, without a doubt, no temple. Okay? But you do have something that's taking place. What is being dug into here? And I'm going to show you that stuff more. You don't have, much going on. You have a little bit of a footprint that's being talked about. You have this. Again, the pool, the big pool is not there yet. You don't have anything built back here yet. There's still a lot that's not built. You don't even have the sundial. What becomes interesting out of this is the reason why this is important is because after this, he's let out of jail and he goes on to do this. Now, this is in February 12th, 2013. Look at that. A temple's built. Look at that. The sundial is built. Look at this. You have this that's built. In fact, that looks like a shadow that's here. This looks like I can't think of the word, but where you do sacrifices at. Okay? Now you can tell me that I'm wrong, and I'm totally fine with that. But that's how that looks to me. This is also the highest point, an altar. Thank you so much. This is also the highest point, you see? Okay? This is the highest point on the island. Okay? That's right there. You have that there. You now have this building over here that is starting to be built. It has a pool. You have the mirrored shells, some say Fibonacci. You also have the E that is there in the middle, which some say again is his last name. You have this house structure being built. And again, do you remember, I talked about this point right here, that they built stuff into here, is so interesting that this is now built in. And again, this is 2013. He was not arrested until July of 2019. Of 2019, he was not arrested. Not arrested. Does that blows my mind. That for a decade, he had been thriving and building, and that they had him on 60 counts, had him on a sweetheart deal, and let him out. That's insane to me. Why was he not taken down way, why wasn't he taking it down from the beginning? Why was he even given the sweetheart deal? Makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. Other things that took place. Do you know what else happened in 2009? Let me tell you. In 2009, let me get where it pulls up. Genesis Block started up. And you're like, well, what's Genesis Block? Well, it's a blockchain for Bitcoin. The most famous example is the Bitcoin Genesis Block, also known as Block 0, which was mined by the network's pseudonym creator, Satoshi Nakamoto. It's a pseudonym. Some people don't even realize that that's a pseudonym. Some people think that this guy is a legit person. And it was on January 3rd, 2009. What else did we have that took place in 2009? Oh, that's right. This island started to blow up of a guy who was released out of jail. A guy that had a sweetheart deal. Does this not blow your mind away? Now, there is reasons why you hear at time. The island is by Puerto Rico. You will hear at times other type of people will sit there and say that they question who is behind Bitcoin. Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't know, and I'm not even going to make the assumption. But there was one gentleman who said, if you knew who was behind Bitcoin, you would run as fast as you could to sell it. There's a reason why. There's a reason why. Let me show you. We're going to get into documents. This, 2019, okay? October. All right? Now, this was after Jeff was in jail his second time, okay? This is South Korea National and hundreds of others charged worldwide in the takedown of the largest darknet child websites, which was funded by Bitcoin. Funded by Bitcoin. Now, this ain't no regular type of no-name place writing this article. This is from the Archives, U.S. Department of Justice. This is an official website of the United States government. United States government wrote this up. And this is 2019. Ready for the next one? This is the timeline of when Jeff being arrested and stuff. Do you know that out of all of his things that was taken in, do you know the one thing that they did not take in, the one thing that's not on record, is his cryptocurrency? That wasn't taken in. Let's go to the next thing. This is from The Guardian, okay? Now, this isn't a government official website, but still, you had this that took place. Again, another incident that took place in 2019. Police arrest hundreds over international child abuse websites. How bad was this? It was called a welcome to video. That's what it was called, a welcome to video. The website relied on Bitcoin cryptocurrency to sell access to 250,000 videos. 250,000 videos. And what was it relied on? Bitcoin cryptocurrency. What were the videos? Sick stuff. Authorities said including footage of extreme abuse to children. Its upload page specifically stated do not upload. But what was on there? Yeah. Insanity. Again, it relied on Bitcoin cryptocurrency. This was in 2019. Again, this is a financial crimes enforcement network. This is from the United States government of an official website. This is United States official website. This is 2024 when this was written up. Okay? Of human traffic cases. And 95% of those of online child exploitation, okay, and human traffic, 95% of those, okay, they reported involving CVC. Now check this out. This is what's interesting right here. This place reported overwhelmingly. Do I need to blow this up? I might need to make it this big. Reports overwhelmingly identified Bitcoin right there again as the primary CVC to do OCSC and traffic. Bitcoin, everybody. It's insanity. So why was Bitcoin made? Who made Bitcoin? It should make you say, I'm now questioning. Because I know that I question. Who made it and for what reason? Now, here's the thing. I don't have the document in front of me, and it's okay. Let me pull this up. This company called Monero, Monero. You can look them up yourself. This place went on in 2016, I think, maybe a little bit later than that. Maybe it was 2019, to where they went on bragging about how much they protect their buyers, that people are not able to see where they buy and sell their cryptocurrency. This is a place that's like Bitcoin. It's just another type of cryptocurrency. It was so bad that the government of America sat there and said that we're going to pay anybody who can break into this place $650,000. $650,000 to whoever can break into this. There was a few top companies that tried to. Unfortunately, every single one of them failed. Every one of them failed. This ticker is Monero. So it's also XMR, by the way. Fair question. Someone asked in the comments, Pearl said, if I can find this, why the heck has our own government not? So our government was trying to find out about Monroe, or Monero, however you say, XMR, okay? They were trying to get into that. My question is, more importantly, where I'm at, why was it that a sick-minded person was let out early? Why were they given a sweetheart deal? And why did they go on to build one of the most world-known places, not saying the biggest place for this type of stuff, but known places for sick stuff to take place for over a decade? Why did we allow that from 2009 to 2019? Why did we allow that to happen? That's where I'm at. Now, this place, what you think you might know about this place, is not what a lot of people don't know what actually happened on this place. You just think that there was some child stuff that happened, sick stuff that happened, okay? This place was very ritualistic, okay? First, let's walk through the patterns here, okay? These are not patterns for children, okay? These are patterns for chambers and to walk the path. And you walk this path and you go around here. Okay. And so as you walk over here, okay. So you come down, you walk, and then you go to the right side. You see this fire pit. Now, I'm assuming that this fire pit, usually you have a fire pit to something like this, so you burn your clothes before you enter. You make yourself new, okay? That's my thought. You can tell me I'm wrong, and that's totally okay. The other things that was here, you had this thing that was at the bottom, okay? Now, this is a half man, half horse, half fish. These are used for, being guardians into a place. False, idol-ish type creatures, okay? At the top of his temple, you had cockatoos. You had 2 of them, okay? As you see here. You can see 2 of them on top. You can see those creatures down at the bottom. I'll zoom in so you can see. There's the cockatoos on top. And then here's that thing at the bottom. You can see the trident in its hand. You can see the hoof legs. You can see the half body. And to me, this looks like the fishtail on the back, okay? So now you sit there and say, well, what are they guardians to? What are they there for? And to me, goes into this. You remember how I told you that somewhere between 2009 to 2013, there's a sundial that comes in here. This sundial is twisted. Look at this, okay? Let me show you that I have the exact image of it, okay? All right? You see you have benches that are around here. You see that the numbers are up here, okay? You see that the number 6s are at the 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock position. You see that a face is in the middle, okay? So this is the exact sundial here. Now, what is interesting is a lot of things, but one of the top things that's interesting to me is you see that there's a number 6 at the 3 o'clock time. You see that there's a number 6 at the 9 o'clock time. How many hours are between 3 to 9? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 6 hours. So you have 6 to 6 hours to 6. To me, that's what this place was. Now you also see how there's 2 benches that are blue. One is right after the first 6, and the next one is right before the next 6. To me, that is saying as above, so below. Interesting. The water's divided. Interesting. And you have these that are protecting it? Well, to me, that's portal talk. To me, that's a water gate. I haven't seen anybody cover this like I have, by the way. And there's going to be other creators that are going to take what I'm going to say and they're going to get 1 million views. But I hope that everybody gives me credit for this stuff. Now, look at the number 6. Do you see this right here? This is where you can pour something in. You can actually follow the line straight to the middle of the face. Same thing for the other 6. You can see that you can pour stuff at these hours and that they will follow a line to the middle of it. Here's some other things. Now you will sit here and think that these benches are put at the hour marks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But they're not. There's actually 13 benches. There's actually 2 red, 3 yellows, 2 purples, 3 greens. You have 2 blues, and then you have a single orange. 3 red, 3 yellow, and 3 greens. Add those together, what do you get? 6. Now add your 2 blues, add your 2 reds, and add your 2 purples. What do you get? 6. Interesting. This number popping up a lot. 13s, by the way. 13 benches. Do y'all know how long he actually served in jail this first time? 13 months. 13 months. Give you another one. I get into gematria. Okay? Get into mirror systems. Where's it at? Right here. You can go look this up yourself. This is gematria where 1 equals A, B equals 2, et cetera, et cetera. But you also have English, you also have Hebrew. But when you put it in simple, okay, do you see that? His name, first and last, equals 163. Do you know that when he was taken down his second time, that he served 163 days before he deleted himself? Before his birthday? 163 days before his birthday. Interesting. 163, 163. Lots of interesting things. Now, a lot of people will sit here and say that they think this blue and white represents X nation, X country. I'm going to tell you it does not. Okay? Let me show you why. This is what Egyptians had. Blue. This is what this place was. Why? These are what these markings. They're chambers. Going back to the sundial, these colors could align with planetary systems. Red is known for Mars. Mars is known for war. I'm curious, how many wars were spilt in this location, and how many of them were started here? This should be having your head spinning. None of this is actually a sundial. None of it. Not a single bit of it. Yeah, so what? Oranges and all this stuff, it's wild. Now, let's go back to the island. You remember this spot? Let me show you something. Give me a second. So this is a tennis court, right? Now, what did we have here earlier? If you go back in time. Oh, that's right. You had an altar in the middle. Oh, that's right. You had where you could go under this thing. I'm seeing some of y'all say pickleball court. I don't play pickleball, but maybe it is, or pickleball. I thought it was a tennis court. Regardless what it is, the main point of it is to hide it. Now, I found a lot of tunnels here. You can see a tunnels here into this place. You can see that where is it? Right here. This is another tunnel. Right here. You walk upstairs and then you walk down the stairs. You see the shadows into it? That's a tunnel. No telling how many are on this place. I've shown this before. This, you can say I'm wrong and you might be right. I don't know. But I wonder if this is another shadow. Because here's what's wild about this spot. Is that this spot, you will eventually see it at one point in time, come on, where it's closed at times. and then where it is flooded at other times. You see that? I mean, I'm just going through time of how it is. I questioned, here's all the way fast forward to September 22nd, 2023. I question if they flooded into there. If you understand my drift, what I'm getting at. Now, let me say, I have not seen anything that is evidence for a submarine could go in there. Could there be? I guess, but I have not seen evidence for it. You know, I see stuff like this, cargo ships, you know, could get into there. Now, some people question, what are these shells here? For me, this is a mirror. Mirrors are used in, you know, good and evil type deal but in that sense. I seen someone said, you know, water runoff, but with this place cloaked in so much ritual stuff, I question. This is a cardinal directions, and north is to the right here. No idea if that meant something more. These are actually buildings here. I used to think that this was just stuff standing on top. Just stuff standing on the ground. What I realized is that, let's see, what year was it? I think it's in 2017. You can see the shadows of them. Give me a second. Come on. There you go. So 2017, you see the shadows here. So this tells you that this was possible for stuff underneath that could be stored in this. And no telling how far back they went. Right now, it's only speculation because we can only see what's above. And they don't want to sit here and tell us what's on these islands. You know? I mean, I haven't seen anybody who goes over clockwork. Here's another thing. For y'all who get into the Illume stuff. Is that a checkerboard? Is that for like arrival? You'll notice also as you go through day to day, you'll notice, oh, look, next day it's not there. Now it's a beach. You'll notice things like that on this island. There was at the temple. Give me a second. I'll show you something else. All right, so here's a nice clear image, okay? So you can see this spot, okay? You've got 2 benches, another 2, and another 2 out here, okay? Just looks like an open place, but there's a point in time where for a day, they end up putting something out there. Give me a second. Just got to find it. Here you go. Look. They went and actually put stuff around this. But, so this is in April 18th, 2019. Okay? And then boom. Here you are in September 2019. 5 months later, and it's gone. They would bring stuff out. To me, it looks like they would bring stuff out for a day and then quickly take it down. shout out to Morgan. I hope no one takes this the wrong way, but just because you learned about one cult doesn't mean that that is how it is in all cults, okay? Just because you learned about Masons doesn't mean that's how it works on all the others, okay? Because when you do crap like that, that's where you get where people will sit here and be like, oh my gosh, there was owls on top of this thing. It's not an owl. It's cockatoos. This is different type of ritualistic stuff. This is sick stuff. This is stuff that, if you're listening to me, should sit there and make you, dang straight that too. This is stuff that should make you wonder, how many other victims were there that were just thrown to sea, burnt away? No one has an idea. When you have what I've just shown you of all this type of stuff, you should have a lot of questions. When you have somebody that's so powerful that they literally have a president of the United States in a dress, that's what that meant. That meant, I got you. I'm this powerful. I'm more powerful than the president of the United States. You're sick at this point? I hate it for you. I should have put a disclaimer at the beginning of this. So many people don't know what happened on this island. They think they know. They think they know. Fortunately, they don't. Like I said, this shows that there was an American flag at that one point. Now, I have no clue who this couple is. No clue why you would want to. Don't know. I don't know why a place would want to be a charter system out there and have pizza for sale at his bigger island. Could it be just a regular pizza place? Sure. To me, it makes me scratch my head, though. Like, what makes you want to have that in that location? Crazy. Crazy. So tons of things that are just built and built and built and built. We're in September of 2019, by the way. You have tons of tunnels that I've shown you. I mean, look at this. This is right. Here's the temple. Here you have what I'm going to speculate is a storage container down here, or either another building into here. I mean, it's literally a freaking walking path into here. Look over here. Look at this. This is where that E used to be for entrance. There used to be a building here. Guess what? Removed. This. Let me show you this. This is a clean cut tunnel right here. And built. I can show you the history on this. Okay, so there is November 2020. Okay, still see it as I keep going back. This is April 2020. Still see it in 2019. Okay. 2018, you see that it's still there. But, yeah, there you go. Do you see how they open and close that at times? As I'm flipping through, at times you see that it looks like there's nothing there. At other times you can see it's there. That is literally a freaking door. A door that is there. So much. There you go. 2006, 2007, not there. Oh no. What happened between 2009 to 2013? Who let this guy out? Why was he released early? Why was this not shut down early? Why did this allow to be thrived? It's not like you're dealing with another country and, trying to stop their actions and get their government involved. You're dealing with a guy who owns an island. That's it. What do you think would happen to you if you tried taking down this big ring? Why was so many governments around the world afraid of? Know that this is going on. Why were they so afraid of him? For over a decade. Rhonda says, obviously the judges had something to do with his early release. Again, if you didn't hear me earlier, he was arrested back in 2007-ish. When he was first looked into for 60 counts. 60 counts. At Florida at that time. In 2007-ish. His trial got moved from being done in Florida, got moved to the grand jury. That should sit there and be like, wait, why? Maybe they're going to punish him a lot worse, right? No. Nope. Not even close. Given a sweetheart deal. Given a sweetheart deal to where he was able to go in and out freely as he wanted to. 12 hours a day in jail and 12 hours who knows where. Able to have people visit him and not even have to be written down who they are as they come in. Only had to serve 6 out of 7 days. Was given 18 months and for whatever reason, no one knows, but just walks out on the 13th month and never goes back. Should make you go, huh? I'm trying not to turn this into political, but I'm sitting here saying, well, underneath Bush, dude's arrested. Underneath Trump, dude's arrested. Underneath 2 other ones, nothing. I'm not pushing that into a direction. I just have questions. Why? Why was this allowed to go on for a decade? It's insane. What was the plans for this other island? Now, the person who owns this island right now, both of these islands, he bought it recently within 3 years, I think. I think 2022. Now, he seems like a good guy. I don't see anything that's there on his track record and things like that. But I am surprised that we're not told so much that's here. So it's an interesting one. And it's one that I wish that the files would drop, the rituals. We haven't seen anything in the files about rituals. Nothing in the files about rituals. Zip zada about what happened there. No questions even asked to the survivors. The only time that we've heard of things from the survivors is when they've gone on to like a podcast. And they would sit there and make, comments of, hey, if you knew what type of ceremonies were there, it would blow your mind. So, I've said what I wanted to say. I have my questions of things to cryptocurrency. I agree with the one guy who said, if you knew who owned it, you would run as fast as you could to sell it. And to me, it's not really about who owns it. Again, I have no idea, but for it to be used so sinister, so much in a sickening way, I don't want to be involved in it because here's my thing. Listen to me, y'all. Listen to me on this. When you go and you put money into Bitcoin, all you're doing is increasing these sickos' money. I don't think I could get into it. And I understand it's just a percentage. Back then it was real big back in 2009. And I do agree. Morgan said nobody knew, and I get it. I've had my hand into Bitcoin before, but now knowing how cryptocurrency is done, I'm like, I can't. When you have a company that's Monero or whatever, and the FBI is trying to get someone to hack into it and they can't, $650,000. When you see how many rings are busted over and over again, and you see them being tied with cryptocurrency, crypto should have never been made. Now, Bitcoin has been, I think, transparent. Don't hold me to it. But I think they have been transparent to showing people buying and selling stuff. Monero, I do not think, is being transparent. So. But I'm going to end this on YouTube side, and then I'm going to come back to the TikTok side. So everybody on YouTube, have a wonderful and blessed night. Do not live in fear, because if you live in fear, you die several times in your life. If you do not live in fear, you only die once. So to the YouTube side only, take care. God bless.